Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Would everyone please rise and join me in the pledge to the flag? We don't have an actual flag though, so we're just going to say the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay.
Okay, so due to the virtual meeting, there'll be no live public participation. Please feel free to email any thoughts or comments to the superintendent at charlene.dean@redjacket.org. The board will receive all thoughts and comments that are submitted. Up first, we have our minutes of the October 14th regular board meeting. Did anybody have any questions?
Jen, you have to amend the agenda because we were going to have the executive session first. On the agenda that I sent out, you just have to amend it, just say we're not going to have it.
Okay, so we're not having the
executive session in the beginning, it was on the agenda to be first.
okay, but since it's later.
You can just amend the agenda that it's at the end of the meeting.
Okay, so can I have a motion to amend the agenda to move our executive session to the end of the meeting?
Motion.
Lisa Lombardi.
Heather Bachman.
Thank you, right out of the gate.
I'll mute myself.
No, that's good. All right, so did anybody have any questions or revisions on the October 14th regular board meeting minutes?
No, I move these be accepted as presented. Heather Bachman.
Second, Lisa Lombardi.
We're good on those? Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Next up is the minutes from our October 28th work session. Anyone have anything on that?
No, just another thank you to Christy again, though, because that was excellent. I really felt like I had a clue about what I was looking at this month. So thank you very much, Christy.
You did a great job. I'd be more than happy to come back and continue. And I just want to make sure in your binder in the front, maybe, or I'm not sure where it went, Kim, but the document I said I would share with you, the annotated IEP, hopefully you all got a copy of that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's
in the packet. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kim.
You're welcome.
So is there a motion to accept?
Second, Heather Bachman.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. Okay, so we're moving on to the APPR plan, Appendix D. Before we motion, does anybody have any questions or comments on this?
I have a question. I probably should know this. Does this plan get updated every year?
It does not.
Yeah, and well, I was just going to say this particular plan was just updated by the committee recently, and it has not been approved yet. But go ahead, Jeff, and talk about
it is a plan for this year. Typically, our plans have run like 3 to 4 years in length, but we made changes this year to some of the indicators that we're scoring just because of COVID.
Right.
So the plan is in place for just this year. What we upload to the state will be able to stay in place. There is some things that are locally controlled. So like what indicators we're going to score. We'll have to get back together with the union next year, depending upon what the school year looks like, to make some changes. But what we actually submit to the state it shouldn't have to change unless they change laws on us. And then we would have to go back and make changes. But what we put into the state will be good. And then we'll just have to get together with the union and figure out what we're going to score depending upon what the school year looks like next year.
How does the district, I know you have to work with RJFA, but how do you determine what tool you're going to use? Like I see you're using parts of NYSET's tool, but I'm just curious, like what does that process look like?
Honestly, we've used NYSET since I came here. It was selected, it's been 6 years, going on 7 years. So why NYSET was picked by the district over other, Danielson or something else?
Yeah,
I can answer that. I mean, the NYSET rubric is really based off of Danielson. So if you look at each of the components, you'll see Danielson really in it. The NYSET rubric was simply selected because it was free. It was a free tool and it's based off of Danielson. So that's why it was selected initially. And this year is a little bit different, like Jeff indicated, with the changes this year. So
awesome. Thank you. Just curious.
Does anybody have any other questions? Nope. Okay, so upon the board hereby accepts the recommendation of the superintendent to approve the updated annual performance review plan as presented.
Motion.
Oh, sorry.
Lisa Lombardi.
Is there a second? Did we get a
I'll
second?
take it. Heather Bachman.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Okay. Carried. Appendix D is our civil service school bus monitor specification. The board hereby accepts the recommendation of the superintendent to establish the attached civil service school bus monitor position. Did anyone have any questions on this? No? Okay. Is there a motion?
Motion. I think that was Amanda, a second.
Yep. Did you get that, Kim?
Yep.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. We're on to Appendix E, which is our personnel report, and we are going to hold off on the coaching appointments tonight and push those to December because of the fluid situation with COVID right now. So upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the board accepts with regret the resignation of Gary Bergen Cleaner effective October 29th, 2020.
Motion.
Oh, sorry. Lisa.
So Lisa's a first. Is there a second?
There.
I can do it. Fine, Heather.
Okay. All in
Can we
favor?
hold up panels or something? Like we can hold up a number.
See on this Zoom, but we'll get it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. The board hereby accepts the recommendation of the superintendent to grant FMLA to Terry Ann Payton, teacher, beginning on or about October 21st, 2020 and ending on or about December 14th, 2020.
Motion. Second, Lisa Lombardi.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. The board hereby accepts the recommendation of the superintendent to appoint Nicholas Borgi to the non-probationary position of .67 part-time teacher in secondary science effective September 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2021. The appointee is emergency COVID-19 certified in the 7 to 12 biology certification area. Step 1 salary per the RJFA negotiated contract agreement. The service will not be credited toward tenure.
Motion.
Motion.
I can't hear Amanda.
It's like slow for me when,
It's slow for Amanda, for me.
okay. I
Yeah.
know it was my,
I'm just gonna mute that and I'll just raise my hand.
okay. So Amanda was first. Do we have a second? Was it Heather?
I tried to be first, but I couldn't, so I'll take second again. Totally
Okay,
joking.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. The board hereby accepts the recommendation of the superintendent to make appointments as per the consensus agenda.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. On to Appendix F, which is our CPSE reports, which now everyone knows how to read.
Everyone's an expert now.
Mhm.
I don't know if I'd say expert, but
I wouldn't either.
better.
I didn't mean it like that. I'm not.
Much better though, much better.
I really like the breakdown that you gave us at the end.
Mhm.
And Charlene, I do think that we should put that in your board orientation book.
Definitely.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's a good idea. Thank you.
Is there a motion to accept as presented?
Motion, accept these as presented. Heather Bachman.
I'll second. Lisa Lombardi.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. So we are on to our reports and correspondence, Appendix G.
I wanted to give the board an update on the new capital project. I know we're just finishing up the previous one, and we still have a few small outstanding items to take care of. One I know you're aware of is the middle school door mechanism. But anyway, so it's almost finished. We're finishing up the new project, but in the meantime, we've been meeting with 17 different stakeholders on a new capital project because we want to try to keep them going every 5 years in order to maintain our state aid. So from June 11th until September 24th, the Capital Project Committee of 17 people reviewed and discussed the existing building condition survey. We toured the grounds and facility and met to define the scope of a new capital project. After much discussion about the needs and wants, the committee prioritized and narrowed the scope with the central focus on protecting the building envelope, safety, accessibility, updating original and aging spaces. There was quite a lot of discussion on the asphalt and pavement and the sidewalks outside, that some of those areas are actually original curbing. And they're deteriorating, they're crumbling, and to wait for another capital project, you'd be looking at maybe 8 years down the road if we don't tackle that. So there was quite a bit of discussion about whether or not we deal with that, or whether or not we look at adding another lane to the track and trying to do more with the athletic fields. The committee felt that we really needed to address the aging and crumbling asphalt as far as exterior work goes. So I'm just going to share the project scope that was outlined by the committee. So we're looking at parking lot asphalt, sidewalk, and curb replacement. We're looking at drainage improvements, an accessible gravel road to the athletic fields. That was something that has been discussed in the past. We really want an access road out to the athletic fields for, grandparents or people with disabilities so that they can have access to the soccer fields out back. Replacement of remaining classroom windows from the 1990s to like the 2000 vintage. although those windows look like they're in pretty decent shape, they're very, very difficult to open. In some classrooms, we can't get them open, which is a huge safety issue. If there was a fire, people need to be able to exit out the exit windows. But we're looking at replacing all of those. That'll help with energy also. We have 8 remaining toilet room upgrades, in addition of a toilet room in the auditorium foyer. That really was seen as a safety issue. We want to make sure that we can close off the auditorium area so that when we do have events in the auditorium, that we can have an accessible restroom for visitors and not have them go down the hall to use our high school toilet room. We're looking at replacing the 1998 Univents. They have Univents where there is like a cooling feature. So although we can't get air conditioning in classrooms at a reasonable cost, we would at least be able to have a cooling element with those new Univents. And they're aging and falling apart. So they're something that is really needed. We can't push that off to a later project without risking some issues, you know, continually trying to put Band-Aids over them to keep them going for another, you know, 5 years beyond this 5-year project. Replacement of incandescent and T12 lights. There's still some of the older lights remaining. We would like to replace those. We have all the LED lighting, which is a huge energy savings. We would like to just finish that out. There is an old chimney down in our basement area that is open, and so we lose a lot of heat, and we would like to remove that chimney. We would like to do corridor and locker upgrades. A lot of the older lockers in particular, especially like in the BOCES section, but a lot of our lockers, they are not working. They're out of shape, so they're difficult to close and to keep closed. A lot of them were stealing hardware from some of the lockers to put in other lockers. And we would like to have some continuity in the corridors so that we have like maybe a continuous color scheme rather than, so upgrading the lockers, but also trying to have some continuity of color scheme while we do it. We also would like to upgrade the secondary art classrooms. A lot of the cabinetry is just falling apart. It's very old. I'm not sure if it might be part of the original. I'm not sure. Some of the cabinetry, I don't know what vintage they are. But the secondary art classrooms definitely need to be upgraded. Additionally, there's a lot of space there that can be recaptured to use as instructional space, like the dark room, and there's like a little office area. So there's actually a lot more space that could be repurposed for instructional space. We want to do some entrance canopy upgrades. We have some rusting and deteriorating exterior canopy areas that we want to, so we want to upgrade those. Because we sold the old bus garage, which, you know, was, I think, a good move because our insurance company is going to be happy that we have sold it. But also it's very difficult to have equipment there and try to get the equipment from Shortsville Road to our school. It's not a safe situation. And it's not convenient. It's very time consuming. It's not efficient. We would like to have an addition of a storage pole barn on our school campus. It's very much needed because now we don't have anywhere to house all those tables and desks when we are making room changes and stuff. And plus we have a lot of equipment that we don't want sitting out, like some of our tractors and exterior equipment that we would like to make sure that it's indoors. The bus garage needs an overhead door replacement, asphalt replacement there as well, and also the bus garage roof needs to be replaced. Once we replace the bus garage roof, all of our roofs will be under warranty, like across the entire district. So that's the scope. And the target dates are, we're looking at November 9th for the seeker and bond resolution. That's our December 9th board meeting. And on February 9th, we would like to have our capital project vote with our community. So if you could do, even just casual conversation, well, from a safe distance, of course, and with masks, with community members, just to help educate them. Because right now we get 89.1% back in state aid. And so, I've said this before, but I'll say it again. The example that I use is that that's pretty much close to 90%. And so if you had $100,000 worth of home improvements to do on your house, like a new kitchen, an addition, the state would pay you back $90,000. Would you do that home improvement? Of course, who wouldn't? So just sharing that. Yes, it is our tax money. It's everybody's money. But if Red Jacket doesn't use it for capital projects, the money that the state sets aside, then other school districts will. So let's have it come back to our school district. Tim, what is the project total? Is it 12 million? Sorry to put you on the spot. I can't remember what the
Oh, no, it's
total number was.
right now it's 11.7, and we anticipate we might have
Okay.
capital outlays as well to 11.9. And right now, as we're closing it out, we might have an additional 300,000 to 500,000 left from this project. So we won't know that total at least for a couple more months.
Okay. Thanks, Tim. Sorry about that.
Oh, no.
But I would like to thank all of our capital project committee members for their input. I know it was very difficult to get everybody together for these meetings, especially given the situation that we're in. But, we had a decent number at each of the meetings, and I appreciate that. And just, Heather and Dennis was on the committee and our administrative team. So thank you everybody who participated in those meetings. The other thing that I wanted to share with you, well, first of all, are there any questions on the new capital project, or the old one for that matter? Okay. The other thing I wanted to share with you is what I've been involved in with our wellness committee, and Tracy Snesgo is our FACS teacher, who is also our wellness coordinator. She invited me and our speech therapist, Marissa Boffman, to participate in the LIFT project. It's funny because Heather Bachman is participating in the LIFT project as well. Heather, I don't know if you finished yours, but we finished our sessions. So feel free to jump in if you want to. But the LIFT project is based on research from neuroscience, lifestyle medicine, and positive psychology. It's a 10-week program that explores 10 well-being enhancing topics with an emphasis on mental well-being. The program is about looking to the positive, and it addresses all aspects of health, such as emotional, mental, physical, and social. The lessons were all online, and they were really short, which was nice. They're research-based, and they're really easy to implement. So in addition to offering this to all staff, I'm hoping that we can try to extend it into our student population. So our wellness committee has moved forward with offering this to all of our staff, and Tracy Snesgo is coordinating with the wellness committee and Rick Edmondson. So I'd like to thank her for that, because it is a really great project. I would definitely recommend it to anyone who's interested if you want to participate with us. I'll send you the information. It's really easy. You can, it's kind of self-paced in a way. You have the regular meetings, but as far as getting on, it's video-based, and there's reading that's associated with it. It is really good. I enjoyed it. And I think it is really beneficial for people, especially right now, because people feel like, I don't know, quarantined. No, I'm just kidding. Shut in, and it's just, really stressful right now. So I think it's nice because it is a nice outlet, and it is research based. Also, I'll just give you a quick update. I provided you in your board packet with a lengthy update on the Snowmobile Club. I did that because I kind of wanted it to be within our board packet history for the future. But this past Friday, I did meet with Lynn and Luke Fish. And they had asked to discuss the use of the snowmobile trails. And I tried to explain to them that this was brought before the board in 2016, and it was brought before the board as a concern more recently. And I did explain to them, you know, that there was a bridge being built on the property and then a culvert, and, you know, we are collectively very concerned about the liability with that. And that really the trail has expanded from the state S45 trail really to other parts of our school property. And that is a concern. So they understand that. I did give them a copy of the agreement, and I explained to them that we thought that we were all set with the agreement and that our attorney had met with us. And when we shared the agreement with the club, they came back with some revisions that our attorney looked at and tweaked, so that we tweaked the agreement. But until recently, we thought we were all set. They are now wanting to use the agreement that we provided to have a discussion point with their attorney to find out what areas were concerning to their attorney that they couldn't agree to, and get back to us. So I'm willing to have that conversation, even though I feel as though we have spent more time on this than we really should have, because we were ready to be set with this past June. And I explained to them that their club president didn't even show up to our meeting. And I expressed some, you know, that it's frustrating, but it's something that we wanted to do because, number one, we want to protect the district. These are our goals. Number one, we want to protect the district. Number two, we wanted to be able to do something for our community and allow them to continue to use the trail. So those were our goals, but it doesn't seem that we've been able to really achieve them at this juncture. So they do have the agreement. I'm willing to have another conversation with them. Obviously, we can't compromise the safety and liability aspect of our school district. So anyway, I just wanted to let you know that I will probably meet with them again, but just wanted to give you that update. And I've been in contact with Maria Rudzinski. She did call me a few minutes before our board meeting. She's from the Ontario County Planning Department, and she has sent us during this meeting, or right before this meeting, an email to say that they are rerouting their trail. So because of the situation, they do not want to extend it, because this is all based on a grant that they have already submitted funding for. So they're rerouting their trail so that it excludes the S45 trail on our property at this point in time. And so that means that if the club wants to use the school district's property for snowmobiling, now they are going to have an agreement with us, just between them and us, and not the state. So what that means is that their club's insurance company is going to have to meet the standards outlined in our agreement. So I don't know if that can happen or not, but just so that you're aware of that. Those were the discussions. I spoke with Maria twice today on the phone, reviewed her plan previously, and I have not gotten back to Luke and Lynn Fish at this point, because she just sent the email with the information just prior to this meeting. So that's all I have at this point. Are there any questions or anything? Joe Shields did text me, and he said he's available whenever we are. His meeting ended.
He must have been quick.
Just yeah.
Well, thank you, Charlene. That was a lot.
Yeah, sorry.
No, don't apologize. That's good. No questions for Charlene before we move on? Okay. All right, so we are on to the financial report, Appendix H. Does anybody have any questions for Tim on this?
Not today.
Okay, hearing none, I'll accept on behalf of the board. So we're on to our treasurer's report, which is Appendix I. Anyone have anything on that? I'll accept that on behalf of the board as well. Okay, so we're on to Appendix J, which is our small little policy.
Wow. Small.
Yeah, sarcasm, definitely. Charlie, did you say Chris was chunking this up? There's Chris.
Yeah, she did. I have notes. I mean, she didn't really chunk it up. It's just there's areas in this policy where we are going to have to come up with some dates and stuff. Like on page 5, we're going to have to determine whether it's school days or calendar days. Thank you, Chris, for doing that, by the way. On page 11, we're going to have to determine the days the investigation is completed after receiving the formal complaint. So there's timelines throughout this that we'll have to establish. So so I feel, and Karen's not here, so she's the Title IX coordinator. So, you know, I'm just kidding, sort of. But Chris is the Title IX coordinator for our district. But in this policy, they do recommend that you have 2 people in case there's some conflict. So we did ask Karen if she would also do it, and I received information on training. And so she'll be trained. Chris has already been trained. I don't know if she's going to the training again, but Karen is slotted to have the training as well. But when you look throughout this policy, there's a lot of different timelines that we have to figure out and determine what's feasible. Like in here, one of the timelines, one of the ranges was like 60 days. That's not really probably reasonable because they want it to be done in a timely manner. But then, you know, if you're going to do a thorough investigation, you need some time to be able to do that. And then you have to do written findings and stuff. So you don't want it to drag out too long, but you want to give people enough time, you know. So that's basically throughout this whole policy. Page 16, the appeals must be submitted in writing to the Title IX coordinator within a certain period of time. So I'm not sure how you want to manage this. It is 20 pages.
Well, and I read the whole thing, and very honestly, there's not a lot we can change in it as far as wording because it's legalities. Right. But what I shared with Charlene is that at least in my 20 plus years, we've never had anything go as far as an appeal or anything like that. And that's where our attorneys would be involved. So it's hard for me to say, here's the number of days that they would need to have to do X, Y, and Z. I can kind of guess on those first couple ones, but once I got rolling and started reading the whole thing, I thought it's probably better to look at it at the end and determine the whole amount of time, start to finish, and then kind of fill in the middle. Yeah, so I think we just need some time to
maybe sort of go backwards.
Yeah, and maybe some time to talk to Joe at some point about what it looks like when we would have to hand it off to them if it went that far, if there needed to be a hearing or something like that. which I don't know that information off the top of my head without having that conversation.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my thought.
I
Like,
think-
could we get Joe's opinion on some of these dates, like what that has looked like? Can he give us any suggestions?
Yeah, why don't we do that? You know, Chris and I can touch base with him about this and see what he advises and then come back to you. And if there's any questions in the meantime, you have the policy, maybe shoot us some questions, and if we can answer them, I mean, Karen and Chris will be trained, but we'll also have Joe's expertise too. So if there's questions in the meantime, if you could just email them to me, that way I can either do the research or ask Joe about it, depending on what the question is. And I'll work with Chris and Joe on trying to come up with a timeline that's reasonable, you know, for everybody.
Okay. So is everybody okay with us bringing it back?
Feel more comfortable.
It is a lot.
So
All right.
with that, does anybody have anything else? Everybody that's quarantined, got anything you want to talk about? Well, you got some people here.
We started a quarantine log together. Day 1 on quarantine. Just kidding. So when we're finished with this meeting, I sent you all an email with the other Zoom link for executive session.